Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, and these are not the kind of videos I like to make because somebody actually had to die for me to feel the need to make this video. And while this video is not really a direct result of that person dying, it actually has more to do with a conversation that I had with somebody else about a week ago. But the fact that this person died the way that they did just gives me more of a reason to come out and talk about this video of this topic. So let's just discuss what happened over the weekend. So there's this woman, she's 30 years old, and she used to work for my company a couple of years ago. She quit a couple of years ago. She worked in the accounting department. She was 30 years old, and she was living over in Illinois with her boyfriend, and he just doesn't sound like he was a very good guy. He was an alcoholic, or at least he was an on and off alcoholic, and it sounded like he had some mental issues and that he was just a pretty violent person. Anyway, I guess she eventually got tired of his crap and she decided that she was going to leave him. And so what happened was she had her sister come out from California to help her move out of the house. And while they were moving her out of the house, she made the mistake of sending her ex-boyfriend, a text saying that she was going to leave him. Ladies, if you're going to leave a guy like this, never do that. That is a fatal mistake, as what happened in this instance. Never text the guy and tell him that you're leaving him, just leave. So anyway, he was very angry. He came home and he had a gun with him. And he shot not only her, but her sister and her dog. She had a pit bull, very nice, sweet pit bull, very beautiful dog. I can only assume that the dog attacked him after he started shooting and killing everybody. And that's why he killed the dog. Anyway, I guess somebody, either her sister, or one of the neighbors ended up calling 911, and the cops actually got there before he fled the scene, and he took him on a car chase, and they went for quite a while, and he lost control of his car, and when he got out of his car, he pointed his gun at the police, and they shot him, and he ended up dying later on. So what does this have to do with this video? Well, it has to do a lot with it because my soon-to-be father-in-law, me and him kind of got into an argument about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. We were watching a movie, and in the movie, this character went into a gun shop. He was depressed, and he went and he bought a gun, and he came out with the gun the same day. My soon-to-be mother-in-law made the comment that, oh, well, they wouldn't give him the gun the same day. And I said, well, it depends on what state he's in. And my soon-to-be father-in-law made the comment, well, no, that's a federal law. There's a federal waiting period. And I said, no, there's not. Because he lives in Illinois, there's a waiting period in Illinois. And I made the comment that only communist states have waiting periods. So Illinois, California, New York, states like that. And he said, no, that's a federal law. And I said, no, it's not. Over in Missouri, which is where I live, I go into a store, I buy a gun, and I come out with it the same day, assuming that there's nothing wrong with my background check, which there never is for me. And he made I told him that there was, that was a very liberal line of thinking. That's a very FUD-like line of thinking. He claims to be, pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. He's a big conservative. He never votes for Democrats. And yet he believes that there should be a federal waiting period. He said that there should be a federal law on waiting periods. And I was really taken back by that because of the type of person that I know he is. And I was like, well, why do you think that is? And his response was, well, if somebody's angry at somebody, somebody wants to kill their girlfriend or their ex-girlfriend, they shouldn't be able to go in and buy a gun and leave with it the same day because they might kill them. If you have a waiting period, then that gives them a time period to cool down and then decide that they don't want to kill that person. Well, that's dumb. That's a really dumb way of thinking about that, because if somebody wants to kill somebody, they could already have a gun and they don't need to go out and buy a gun and wait for a waiting period, or they don't even need a gun. They can use a knife, they can use a baseball bat, they can use a hammer, they can use whatever they want. You know, an axe, a hatchet, a machete. They can use whatever they want. If they want to kill somebody, they're going to kill them. You know, they can run them over with their car. They don't need a gun. They don't need to go out and, you know, they're not just going to walk over to the gun shop and be like, oh, well, it takes 10 days to get a gun. I guess I'm just not going to kill this person. That's not how it works. That's not at all how it works. What waiting periods do is they make it difficult for women or men, anybody who has a restraining order against somebody that's, you know, they're wanting to protect themselves from a specific person because that person is violent and that person has made death threats, and there's a potential for that person to come and harm them, possibly kill them, which in this instance, this girl was leaving her boyfriend, and I don't really know the whole situation. I didn't really know her all that well. We exchanged a few words, and she was a really nice person, but, you know, I didn't really know, like, her background, or, you know, if she owned any guns, if she believed in the Second Amendment. I don't really know anything about that. But let's just, you know, say hypothetically that she didn't have any guns for self-defense, and she wanted to leave him, but she was afraid that he would do what he did, and she felt the need to go and buy a gun. Now, in Illinois, which is where she was living, there's a waiting period. Now, if she went to the store to buy a gun for self-defense against her ex-boyfriend, and she had to wait 7 or 10 days, however long it is, well, that gives her boyfriend 7 to 10 days to come and do harm to her because she doesn't have a gun to defend herself. And this happens a lot. Now, I don't know if that's the case here, but it very well could have been. And that is why I don't think that waiting periods are a good idea, because obviously, you know, this guy already had a gun. He didn't need to go out and buy a gun and wait 10 days to cool off and decide he's not going to kill her. He already had a gun, and even if he didn't have a gun, he could have used another weapon to kill her with. So what good would a waiting period have done? Nothing. In fact, it does more harm than good, because if she wanted to buy a gun, she couldn't get one, and he very well could have done the same thing. So, in my opinion, there is no good thing that comes from waiting periods. There's just not. They do more harm than good. And I know that that may not have been the exact way that this all played out, you know, but I know for a fact this happens, and it happens quite a bit in those states that have waiting periods. People file a restraining order, which, by the way, is just a piece of paper, where they break up with their boyfriend and they say, leave me alone, you know, stay away from me. And, you know, those are just words. They're not going to keep anybody out. And that person goes and gets a weapon and kills that person, or causes severe bodily harm to that person. And the person that they attacked was unable to defend themselves because they had to wait 10 days to get a gun for self-defense. So that's all I have to say about that. Waiting periods do more harm than good. They shouldn't exist, in my opinion, period. If you're the type of person who says you believe in the Second Amendment, but, you know, we should have waiting periods, no. You're just a FUD. You're a liberal. I don't even know. But that is not pro-Second Amendment, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, waiting periods have no place in gun laws. So, anyway, that's all I have to say. Subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm RedneckMini14, and until next time, be safe.